first with the a very important government agency, okay, which is in charge of the insurance for government employees. We have the GSIS for government employees, and we have the SSS for private employees. So after they reach the mandatory age of 65, they are compelled to retire, and by that time they will be receiving pension. Same also with the private sector. We have SSS or Social Security System. For GSIS, Government Service Insurance System. So both are the same, only that they have different members. So members of the GSIS are only government employees. Uniform personnel have different insurance company or yeah, similar also to members of the court. They also have a different insurance system and not falling under the government service insurance system. So what's the purpose of the GSIS? It was created by Commonwealth Act number 186, okay, and is a social insurance institution that provides and defined benefits scheme under the law. So in general, it is intended for government employees. By the way, right now, you can actually retire even if you do not hit that compulsory age. As long as you reach the 60 years old, you can apply for an optional retirement. The benefits could be lump sum and there will be a monthly pension. At first, you can receive a certain amount, which is lump sum. The rest, it could be done through, or it could be given to you through a monthly pension. Now, what are the powers and responsibilities? Let's go first to the authority of the GSIS to reclaim. No. So under the other ones is the Social Security. It is defined as the system that provides monetary assistance to people with inadequate no income. So again, there are two types. One of which is those who are government employees, and the other one is those who are working in the private sector. So what is the meaning of that government or this insurance system? It is these are social legislation that provides benefit for those who will be retiring later on, so that as you grow old, when you don't have income anymore when working, then you will be receiving pension. Of course, it will be for payment of the thing that you might need, okay, while you're not working anymore. So what are the needs that you might what are those needs, like medicine, okay, anything that you need because you are no longer capable of working. So food, for example. So if you are living alone, it's good that you have pension. Okay, of course it's higher depending also on how much salary you receive, okay, while you are still working. Okay, normally it is multiplied by the number of years in service, okay, and your last salary. Okay, last salary multiplied by the number of years, okay, and the number of years will depend on whether you reach 20 years or 30 years. The number of years in GSI is in the old computation. I think they are new now, but I think there's I think right now that the computation that when you reach 20 years old, it will be 1.5 20 years in service, and when you reach 30 years in service in GSIS, then the computation of the 31st year will be the 31 is is computed as times 2. What does it mean? Let's say you reach 31. The 31 year, the 1 year there, multiplied it by 2. It means 2 years of service. When you reach 20 years, the 21st year is computed as 1.5 years of service. Okay, so when you retire at the age of 30, it doesn't mean then that the last salary will only be multiplied by 30. It could be more than that. Okay, so it could be 40 years times 40 years. So for SSS, okay, that would also depend on the salary they receive, because a portion of their income while they are still working goes also to the SSS. Okay, so part of that SSS is the leave benefits. Okay, like the maternity leave benefit, which is now it's no longer limited to 4 delivery. It could be, it's unlimited already. So meaning you can avail of the maternity leave, which will be paid by the SSS. Okay, the time when you are not working. Before it's only up to 4 deliveries, but now it's unlimited. Okay, so fortunate for those who are capable of delivering a child, because it's no longer limited to 4. Okay, in the previous law, it's only limited to 4 deliveries. Okay, for father who was living with the woman who delivers a child, even if he is not married, as long as he is living, then he is also entitled to another benefit, which is called the paternity leave benefit, 7 days. Okay, so if he is married, that maternity leave can also be transferred. It's transferable. It can be transferred to the husband. What's the purpose of the paternity leave? It's for him to give support while the woman is delivering a child. Okay, what kind of support? Moral support. Okay, like, okay, you of course it's difficult for a woman to bear a child, more so during the delivery. So he should be there around, taking care of the woman as well as after delivery. Okay, so that's the purpose of that paternity leave benefit. Okay, now there was an increase on the number of years for maternity leave. Okay, and that also depend on what kind of delivery. There are types of delivery, right? If you recall, one is a normal and the other one is cesarean delivery. If it's normal delivery, there's a corresponding number of months which is less than compared to those who are to a not normal delivery or a cesarean. Okay, why it's called cesarean? They said that Julius Caesar was delivered in an inverted way. Okay, meaning it's difficult for a mother to deliver, so what the doctors did is that to slice a portion of the womb just to get the child out. Okay, so there are other benefits here. Okay, let's proceed to the labor. Okay, these are connected to labor. What do I mean by labor supply? It's the total hours. Okay, that workers wish to work in a given real wage rate. So you are only allowed to work within 8 hours. Beyond that, okay, you are entitled to overtime work of a certain percent. I think 20%. And if you work on night shift, you are entitled to a night shift differential, which starts from 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. on the following day. Okay, so also a certain amount, a certain percentage from a regular wage hours. Now, of course, few to the knowledge of some employers, actually employees are also entitled to benefits. Okay, so they are required only to they are they must be paid a certain minimum wage, such that if they are received below minimum wage, then the employer will be held liable. But who determines the minimum wage? It's determined by the regional tripartite wages and productivity board. So it's called tripartite because there are two bodies there, or groups of people that will decide to determine the minimum wage. We have the labor group, represented by their labor unions like ALUTIU, CP, TU, Trade Associated Labor Union, okay, or KMU, Kilusang Mayuno. May 1 is the Labor Day. That is why they always celebrate their day, and that's the day also where they protest and demand for salary increase. Okay, May 1, that's why it's called Kilusang Mayuno, or May 1. May 1 is a feast of a saint, according to them, who is the patron saint of the laborers, Saint Joseph the Worker. Okay, so they always demand for a CNA, or the collective no negotiation agreement for government employees, and for private sectors they demand for collective bargaining agreement. Okay, the collective bargaining agreement is more forceful, okay, than CNA, or for those who are working in government, they only negotiate. That's why it's called collective negotiation agreement. They can negotiate, but they cannot demand. Why? Because the salary of employees is legislated. Okay, so they cannot say, "Hey, Congress, increase our salary." No, you have to pass first. They must be a law first increasing the salary. But it's different in private sector because the corporation, the company, okay, may actually increase based on the financial statement, okay, which will be reported or submitted by the accountant to the employer. So the labor sector will also know it, because the financial statement must also be transparent to the workers. So if they can see that there is an increase of the profit, then they are entitled to a profit sharing. That's why every December, okay, they will demand for collective bargaining agreement, which is probably a profit sharing. After all, the employer benefits from the workers. Okay, without the workers, the employer will not become rich. So justice would dictate that since you become rich without doing any effort, all you do is only sit down and then get the money out from the labor of the workers. So they should be entitled to profit sharing. So if the employer will not grant what they wish, okay, they can go to a strike. They will not work. Okay, and let's see what will happen if workers will not work. It is the right. Sometimes it has a bad effect for economy, because investors will not invest in our country. They are afraid of this unstable industrial peace. Okay, if they do not have peace in the company, there is no assurance that they will receive their capital, okay, return of capital. Now, why? Because they will demand, okay, and if the demand is not within the budget enough, then eventually the company will become bankrupt. Now, so there are proof right now. There is, of course, because of pandemic, there are employees who were retrenched, or they cannot work anymore because of bankruptcy declared by some companies. Okay, so that's just normal because of pandemic. Still, we have to understand them. Okay, So there is an exercise here. You can actually answer this one um, during your vacant period. I'll go to the other topic, okay, which is the um, corporation, because this is very important, because this propels the economy. Okay, without corporation, we will not have any income. Okay, I consider corporation as a double-edged sword. Why? Because this both gives the employer and the workers also give tax. A portion of their income goes to the government. So not only the laborers but also the employer, okay, and the corporation itself on their on their tax. Okay, so when you will be working later on, a portion of your money will be deducted, okay, to pay tax depending on your status, whether you are married, single, or head of the family. Okay, but the law right now do not distinguish that in terms of the deduction. But as to the status, there are two, or there are three rather. Single, if you are not married yet; head of the family, if you do not have, if you have dependents like parents who are depending on you, or those who lives with you, the minors, or those even if they are not minors, they are of age, meaning above 18, but they still depend on your support, then you can claim for head of the family. Okay, so and then the other one is married. If you are, of course, married, okay, you have marriage certificate, and then um, have have children, so each child is entitled to 25,000 deduction of your monthly of your income for the entire year. The similar also applies to head of the family who claims for dependents. There will be each child is dependent will be entitled to 25,000 deduction of the yearly income. So how to deduct that yearly income? So multiply the number of month your basic salary to 12 years. So and after getting the 12 years, there's a corresponding bracket which I cannot discuss it today because it's on tax. It's very specific, and all you have to do, okay, multiply it by 12 years. If your income is beyond 200,000, there is a corresponding tax. But if it's below 200,000, it's an exempt from tax. There's zero deduction. Okay, it's a new law. The purpose of that is to ease the burden of those who are earning below minimum wage. So it's actually, if you multiply the minimum wage to the number of years that they are working, it's only equivalent to less than 200,000. Okay, and the 200,000 is exempt from tax. So it is, the tax is of course proportional. The higher income you have, the higher tax you will be paying. Why is it so? Well, that's justice. No, if you have higher salary, the more that you will be paying to the government. What if all will be paying, let's say 1,000? That would be very unfair for those who are only earning, let's say 4,000. Imagine 1/4 of your salary will go to the tax. So you will not, it will not encourage people working. Now we go to the other one, corporation. This is very important. Okay, what is a corporation? It is a company or group of people authorized to act in a single entity, okay, and recognized as such in law. There are actually many kinds of corporations, okay, but it's not in here, but we'll just probably discuss that. Very important. Actually, right now, a single corporation can now make his own corporation. It's called one-person corporation. Okay, before it requires 5 persons to create a corporation. Okay, or a partnership. There are 2 people who will be forming a business. It's called partnership. Okay, or let's say it is all will practice their profession, let's say accountants, it's called partnership. But if it's more than that, okay, it's not a practicable profession, okay, then they can form a corporation. So there are two kinds of corporation. In general, we have the um, stock corporation and non-stock. So it's basically when you say stock corporation, at the end of the year, they are receiving dividend. Whereas non-stock corporation, it's not divided into dividend because all are just simply members. Unlike in the stock corporations, those who are members are called stockholders, meaning they also put their money in the corporation for it to grow or have income, and that yearly income which will be declared with the board, it's called stock dividend. Okay, dividend. Now, divided by the number of owners in corporation aggregate or corporate sold. What is this corporate sold? Refers to owned by congregation, okay, mga religious group like mga diocesan priest or religious group like um, the one who administered San Carlos or USGR. It's a sole corporation. Now, so it is divided by the number of owners, corporation aggregate or corporation sole. It refers to a group of people who made up a corporation, okay, who unite to form a body under special denomination. So what are the requirements before you form a corporation? By the way, even an association can be called as maybe a corporation in its nature because it requires a registration, and for it to be registered, it requires also articles of incorporation, similar to a forming of a corporation. What's the purpose of the registration? Okay, for it to acquire personality, so it can collect money, okay, and it can be sued and it can sue. What's the effect if you do not register? If you do not register your association as a corporation, okay, you cannot sue, but you can be sued. Okay, that's the consequence. Now, in naming a corporation, it must be of a unique, not that those corporations name already existed. Otherwise, people might be deceived, thinking all the while that your corporation is the one that was already registered. Okay. So, what are other requirements to be submitted in the SEC or Securities and Exchange Commission registers all corporations and associations? Constitution and bylaws. The Constitution and bylaws should not be contrary to the corporation law, okay, or corporation code. So meaning, in case of a conflict between the corporation code and the bylaws, the corporation code prevails. Okay. So what's in the corporation code? The rules, no, when you register a corporation. What's in the bylaws? The duties of the officers. When are they going to serve? What are the rules set by the corporation? Okay. Now, what governs the corporation? We have the board. Okay. If it's a stock corporation, it's governed by a board of directors. If it's a non-stock corporation, meaning like foundation, members are called the person that compose it are called members. Okay. Whereas in a corporation, in a stock corporation, they are called stockholders. Okay. So in stockholder, they are entitled to dividend. And the other distinction is that the non-stock corporation is governed by a board of trustees, whereas the stock corporation is governed by board of directors. How about other government entities? Some are governed by board of regents. Okay, it's similar to a board of trustees. They do not receive anything. Um, it's intended for the services to the people. Okay, example, CNU, UP, governed by board of regents. Okay, board of regents. So it's the governing body. So for the board of directors in the stock corporation, it's the governing body, it's a policy maker, it's higher than the president. Okay? And why is it so? Because it's composed of the representation of the members, okay, of the stockholders who has been elected and who has a share in the corporation. So they are the ones who will decide. How about the board of trustees? They can be elected. Okay? Any member who can qualify, who are a bona fide member, then can be a qualified board of trustee. Will they be receiving any amount? Yes, it depends on the balance. If they state there that they can receive a certain amount, if they attend the meeting on a per diem basis, then it's allowed. As long as that is approved by the General Assembly. Okay. Because they cannot just simply propose an increase for themselves payment without approval of the members, because that's self-serving and there may be a conflict of interest. Okay, you cannot simply increase your money that you will be receiving. If you propose that, then it must concur with a certain number from the stockholders. Some of the data here actually comes from other country, but what I'm talking are those laws that are applicable in our country. Okay. So some are not applicable. You can just listen to what I said. Those are the laws that are applicable to us. Some are it applies this one to other country. Now there are exercises there, okay, which you have to answer.